I'm Kylie.
I'm Corey.
And we are Lit Libations. Welcome.
To our 11th episode. Oh my God, officially out of the ACOTAR phase.
Which is insane.
For now.
And I'm sad.
It is kind of sad.
No, but I am actually kind of excited. Nervous, but excited.
Yeah. This is a crazy jump that we're making.
It's an insane jump. We went from like fantasy fae to romantic modern day thriller.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's going to be very cool.
I'm excited.
Well, yeah. We're reading Verity today. We are reading through chapter 13, I think I said.
Yeah.
Perfect. And it's crazy 13 chapters.
It is pretty insane. I'll be honest, the first couple chapters I wasn't sold.
Yeah.
And then I got more interested. I'm more intrigued. I don't know if I'm sold on the book entirely yet.
Oh, no, yeah. So I've read the book before, but Kylie has not. And so we're going to be able to do predictions. And it's interesting to only read half the book and have all these opinions because the ending is crazy.
I fear my predictions are probably not going to
that's fine. It's
be
just fun.
Very good.
It'll be fun.
Okay. We're drinking.
Oh, yeah. We're drinking a Moscow Mule. Just a regular. We didn't even like portion anything out. We just threw it all together.
We really just honestly, normally we measure pretty fairly with our hearts.
Yeah, with ours, yeah.
And it always turns out good. Mm-hmm. So this was the drink that Verity, one of the main characters, was drinking when she first met her husband, Jeremy.
Yes.
And that will be explained shortly.
And that was your idea. And it was a good idea because I was like, I got nothing.
I had almost less than nothing. And then that literally, and I was like, oh, okay, we're just going to roll with that.
Good.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Should we get started?
Good. Yeah. Let's get into it.
Let's set the scene.
All right.
We're in Manhattan, which is in New York, right?
New York.
Okay,
New
cool.
York.
To be honest, I know almost less than nothing about New York.
Really? I've been there once. It was cool.
Okay.
Manhattan is like the center. That's where Times Square is.
Oh, it is. Okay, so
Empire
that is.
State Building.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I didn't know that. Yeah. I don't know where, like, all I know is like what I've heard in Gossip Girl. So like Upper East Side, Lower East Side, Brooklyn. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I don't even know where, like, relatively where that is in New York. So that's great. Anyways, main character, her name is Lowen.
Don't forget it.
Because it's easy to. That's the thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, we're going to start on a sad note because we are literally in Manhattan and she's about to walk across the street and she literally witnesses a man get struck by a truck and killed, and blood literally splatters all over her.
Ugh.
This was interesting, and that, like, this is not like something to be made a joke of at all, but I was curious because she mentions how this happens so often that, like, people are not even remotely disturbed by it.
Yeah, they're not even phased.
I should have looked up a statistic about this, but I can't imagine that people get hit by, like, cars that much.
I don't know, especially because she hasn't been in Manhattan that long. So how, I think.
Yeah, like, did she look up that statistic prior? Like, how does she know that off the cuff? I wouldn't even think about that going into Manhattan, like, any kind of...
No, me either.
Just, like, people, like, don't know how to cross the street. Like, whatever.
Anyways. Oh, okay, so when... I didn't know much about New York either until we went last year, I think. And at first we were crossing the street. I was like making sure I'm like people are walking like at all times. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, I wait for the crosswalk, we're going. And then like by the end of the trip, like a day and a half later, I wasn't even looking. I'm just crossing every intersection. Yeah,
like people jaywalk off.
Yeah, not jaywalk, just like crossing at the intersections regardless of traffic or whatever.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, are you looking both ways? Because like I'm not paying attention.
Wow, that's so
it just gets
interesting.
really casual.
Okay, so maybe people do get hit that often. This is truly something I don't know. I've lived in a city prior. I've lived in Portland before, and we used to jaywalk quite often. I shouldn't say that. Like, don't arrest me.
Whatever. There's no proof.
There's no proof. Just this confession on my podcast. But yeah, I mean, I never witnessed anyone get hit by a car. I mean, it's not like as big of a city as New York, but
Right. No, me either.
It's just interesting. Sorry, I don't know why that was like such a big thing for me, but I was like so confused reading.
We did see someone get arrested. That was pretty fun.
Oh,
I caught it on Snapchat. I was like, whatever. It was cool to see. Anyways.
Yeah, just like a lot goes on there.
Yeah.
I get it. A lot. Anyways, so she's like blood all over her. She doesn't even realize it at first. She's kind of in shock, and a man. We don't know his name yet, but it's revealed in 5 seconds. His name is Jeremy. I'm just going to say it. It's Jeremy.
Yeah.
is like, do you need help? And he brings her to a nearby coffee shop and helps and like takes her into the men's room. What I'm assuming is that it's like one of those where it's just one toilet. And I think you have to like have a key in and out kind of thing where there's not stalls. Anyway, so he goes in there and he helps her clean up and he offers her his shirt.
Right.
And he has an undershirt underneath, so he's like not naked or anything.
Right. Because I think they both have a meeting that they have to go to or something. And so she doesn't have anything else to wear.
Yeah. But I don't think he says it at that point.
Probably
Like
not.
I think he says after they talk. Anyways, they talk and at one point she asks him, she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Well, unfortunately I've seen worse." And she's like, "What have you seen?" And he goes, "I had to pull my 8-year-old daughter out of a lake 5 months ago."
Oh, geez.
I emphasize the time because I'll be honest with you, there's a vibe here already. I feel there's a vibe here.
What kind of vibe?
Like an initial attraction interest.
Okay.
That's why I was so like iffy about this book because even from this first interaction, I feel like there was a vibe. And I was like, ew, because what?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like this is, and then they're just giving us all this information, and I'm just like, this is worse. Like there shouldn't be a vibe here. Anyways,
I don't know if I got that. I pictured him because she didn't really describe him in too much detail, so I pictured him like older, short, and balding.
Really?
Yeah. Until later, obviously.
Oh my gosh, no! I
funny.
immediately was like, I can tell there's some sort of vibe here.
Okay.
And I hate it.
Okay.
Anyways, in response, Lowen tells Jeremy that her mother died from cancer last week. Okay, more information that just sucks.
Yeah.
Hearing that. And then, because this is why, because Lowen clocks a wedding ring on his finger. And so she changes her whole demeanor off of that. That's why I was like, there's a vibe. Because she makes I just feel like I wouldn't even notice a wedding ring if I didn't give a fuck about, if I wasn't romantically interested or like sexually interested, I wouldn't be like, oh shit, a wedding ring. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So Jeremy leaves because he has a meeting, and then Lowen has to go up and head up to meet her. What is he, a publisher? Or her manager?
An agent?
Her agent.
I think it's an agent.
That's what an agent is, yes. And his name's Corey.
Which is funny.
And he also happens to be her ex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
anyways.
They have a past.
Yeah. And they're at an editor called Pantom Press, which I don't know if that's important to know, but whatever. Anyways, as Lowen heads up to Pantom Press office, she runs into Jeremy again in the elevators.
And they're like, oh shit.
And they're like, oh my gosh, you going to the 14th floor? And she's like, yeah. Are you going to the 14th floor? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, hopefully we're not in the same meeting. Yeah, but you are.
What a coincidence.
Duh. Like, it turns out that the person Lowen was supposed to be meeting with is Jeremy. Jeremy's wife is also an editor.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm sorry, a writer. She's also a writer.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
When Corey shows up, she tells him that, when Corey shows up, so she goes up, they go up, like, whatever, their same meeting. And she meets with Corey. Corey's like unrealistically, like not unrealistically. He's kind of a narcissistic man. So he's like he doesn't give a shit about her really. And like her mother's been dying of cancer for like a long time. And like he never even asked. And so finally he's like, oh, how's your mother? And she's like, she died.
And he's like, why didn't you tell me?
I wasn't expecting that. Like, shit. Yeah. What do I even say to that?
Right.
Really? And yeah, he's like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, you literally never asked.
Never asked. Why? I don't know
why we broke up.
Oh no.
And as she does, she thinks about how she spent the last few months barely able to leave the apartment because her mother relied on her for everything.
Yeah.
In the last few weeks, she literally has been completely home ridden. She's basically just used the last of her money to like Uber Eats food to her house.
It's been
more than
tough.
likely.
Yeah.
Which makes me think like she's in New York. I wonder if she had like laundry set up in her own apartment. Because I feel like that would be difficult. I don't know why I think about these things.
Yeah,
it's like so stupid.
Apartments in New York are super expensive.
Right, and they don't typically have. Anyways.
Could she even afford it?
Right. Corey offers to connect Lowen with Edward, the lawyer at his literary agency, in case she needs help with the will. But Lowen knows she won't need it because her mother didn't leave her any money.
Oh, man.
Yeah. They spent the last of her mother's money helping her mother to live. And like, that's She also used the last of her money to get an apartment that she couldn't afford because her mother wanted to spend her last couple months in her own room.
Which is nice. Isn't it?
What do you mean? Like if it's nice of Lowen?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is nice of Lowen. I think what's difficult, I look at it from like a mother's perspective, and I could never knowingly subject my child to having to be in a financial situation to put them in like something like that, knowing that it's not going to be like good for them.
Right. That's tough.
It's very nice of Lowen.
It's tough. Yeah.
Very,
Just
very nice of Lowen.
Being a caregiver in general.
Very shitty of her mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a result, Lowen is stressed about her current financial situation.
Okay.
So she was hoping to be offered a contract renewal today or some sort of contract. But Corey says the publisher has something else in mind. Like that was like her last financial hope.
Yeah, and we don't even know what the offer is. They're like, well, they said we have to sign an NDA beforehand before we even get any info. So let's just go to this meeting.
Right, but she truly, honestly, has no idea what this meeting is going to be about. So soon, Jeremy enters the room along with this guy named Baron. Which what does she call? What is?
God damn it, Baron.
God damn it.
He like trips over the other lady.
Yeah, so a woman, the editor, walks in, her name's Amanda, and she like trips over Baron. She's like, God damn it, Baron. So then the whole like chapter she refers to Baron as God damn it, Baron.
It was kind of annoying.
I was like
one time would have been funny.
One time I would have that's like the one time actually that I found her likable in this book. I was like, this is actually, I like this.
That's funny.
But then the rest of it I found her insufferable. And Amanda explains that one of their authors is unable to fulfill their contract for medical reasons. And they have to sign an NDA before they even disclose what's going on. And they're looking for a writer to complete the 3 books that remain in the series.
Right.
And Lowen would also have to do like any of the publicity for it, which is not good because Lowen does not like people.
Yeah, she wants to be like a ghost writer.
Yeah.
Or like just not in the public eye at all.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Anyways, the author in question is Verity Crawford, a very well-known popular book writer. I assume it's like someone that would be like reminiscent in this world as like, I don't know, Colleen Hoover.
Stephen King.
Just kidding.
I was going to say that too, but I wasn't going to say that.
No, yeah. I would agree. Stephen King would be a good one for sure. Because it is she does write more like thriller pieces.
Oh, true. I
agree.
I didn't say that because of that, but that's a good point.
No, yeah. Lowen pieces together that Verity must be Jeremy's wife. Verity. Okay. That's their celebrity couple name, Verity.
Verity. I like it.
It's cute. I love it.
It is cute.
Verity must be Jeremy's wife because they have the same last name.
Yeah.
They could just be siblings, but no, they're
true.
No, I'm just kidding. They are married. And they offer her $75,000 per book. No royalties, just this flat fee. To be
no
completed.
royalties is not okay.
Well, I actually think it's fair.
Some royalties.
Yeah, maybe fair. That is fair. Maybe like some royalties depending on how well the book did.
Yeah.
So, but the book series has to be completed within 24 months, which is kind of
2 years, 3 books.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That feels like a lot.
I couldn't do it.
I couldn't either. I'm not a writer, to be fair.
Me either.
It's like my worst subject, but I just feel like it'd be a lot. Lowen does some quick math, and after like Corey's cut, 15% which 15%. Okay, sorry, hold on. I think I have a stroke. Hold on. Lowen does some quick math, and after Corey's cut, which is about 15%, that's the industry standard, and taxes, it would leave her with a little less than $100,000 total.
Right. Which is like, what was it, $50,000 a year?
Which is about, $50,000 a year post tax.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
It depends on you how fast you can write those books. It might be really good.
Yeah, for sure. In New York, it feels like it wouldn't be very good.
Oh no, that's true. That's not good at all.
It feels like it would like maybe, I don't know, but it does not feel like great.
True.
Also, you really think she deserves royalties? What would be your
1%, 2%, like something? Like that's a lot of work that she has to do.
I could see a percentage based off of like if she brought more
based on
listeners,
sales,
more listeners than like the projection of what
I would set
Verity
some,
would have brought in.
right. I would set some kind of stipulation like that. Like, you know, if it does well.
Yeah, that would have been an incentive. I agree.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Anyways, okay. So Lowen initially declines because she's like, holy shit, that's a lot of pressure. I literally have to follow one of the best writers in this genre.
Yeah.
For kind of not a lot of money.
Yeah, truly.
And I guess I'm not a writer, so I wouldn't be able to truly like understand.
I kind of get it from Lowen's perspective. Like, it's not that much. It's not enough money for it to be worth it.
It isn't a lot of money, but also it would, to be fair, if she did a good job, it could launch her career.
Oh, true. Yeah. But
that was the other thing I was kind of thinking though, too.
yeah.
But she would have to like write her own series. Anyways, sorry.
That's true.
However, Jeremy's like, Lowen, let's like talk alone.
Wink, wink.
By the way, in this meeting, they did mention that they had 2 other writers in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also, I just want to point out, this is also where I get a vibe, because during this, they have a little interaction that basically goes like this. Lowen asks about his wife. Jeremy says she was in a car accident. He also mentions that they previously lost both their kids, twins, Chasten and Harper. They're both girls, within 6 months of each other. Mm. He also says that Lowen's book, Open Ended, was one of Verity's favorites.
Oh, yeah. Verity read her book and was like,
this is going to be the next big thing.
Yeah.
And he presses Lowen to take the job, offering $500,000 for 3 books. And
yeah,
he
he's
tells
like, they're
her,
lowballing you.
Yeah. And he tells her that she can decline doing publicity. And then Lowen agrees to it. So this is also where I catch a vibe, because if they already had 2 other writers in mind, why is he pushing so hard for Lowen to get this deal? I mean,
maybe he just like saw what she went through that morning and was just giving her an opportunity. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe there's something to it.
I mean, but he he tells her all this super personal information, knowing that they're probably going to have to kind of work somewhat side by side.
Yeah, like the twins dying. That's
a
crazy thing to disclose
personal.
At this moment.
Yeah, exactly. And their names and everything. It's just Anyways, Corey goes back with Lowen to her apartment to celebrate the new contract. She has like an eviction notice on the door.
Oh yeah, and he sees it and he's like,
yeah, it's like so awkward. And Lowen thinks about how she stopped sleeping with him after she learned over social media that he was seeing someone else. But he's like, and he's pressing on her though too. Corey is like trying to press her to have sex, and she's like, no, like you can leave. He's just kind of a scumbag. I don't love him. At one point he's like, because in order for her to do research, she has to go up to, or she can go up to Verity and Jeremy's home. And she has, because Verity has an office and she can basically go through it. Verity might have notes for the last 3 books, like whatever.
Info, yeah.
Exactly. And he's like, don't go, it's weird.
It is weird. Fair, but yeah, I mean, he's looking out for her in that sense, but
maybe I'm crazy. I don't find it that weird.
To stay for as long as she does end up staying, it's weird. Like,
yes.
Initially it was 2 days. Grab what you can, find what you can, and leave. That's not weird.
Right.
Agreed.
But yeah, so at this point, I don't find it weird.
Agreed.
At this point, I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
she needs all that
she gets there and she sees the office, like there's no way that he would have been able to pack all that and bring it to you.
No. Yeah.
So online, Lowen has learned that one daughter died of an allergic reaction when she was away at a sleepover, and the other drowned in the lake behind their house, which is my biggest fear, by the way.
Drowning?
Having my child drown.
Oh, yeah. It's like, isn't it like the leading cause of death for like toddlers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so scary.
Oh, I couldn't.
It's terrifying.
I could not even own a pool right now.
Wow.
I'm not even joking.
No, I get it. It is really scary.
Verity's car wreck, which she learns online as well. She basically is researching them. Like,
good for her. Yeah, she should.
Was involved by her hitting a tree, but there wasn't any like skid marks in the situation. So that's also one of the reasons why. So it's like, it's suggested that it's not like that she slid, like it was an accident, that she had potentially did it intentionally.
Right. We don't really know that though.
We don't, but it was mentioned.
Okay.
Corey mentioned, he was like, oh, well, because Verity's like, well, she hit a tree. And Corey's like, there weren't any skid marks. Like, that's why he's concerned.
Oh.
Because he's like, what kind of man he says this, he's like,
yeah,
his 2 daughters like die, and then his wife like hits a tree under suspicious circumstances.
It is very suspicious when you put it like that.
Right. But Lowen's like, you're jealous. You're jealous because you want to fuck me. Right. And he's probably does. And that she's staying in another man's house.
Yeah. And he's a whatever character, so it doesn't matter.
Right. And then that's mine.
And that's my turn?
I think so.
Okay. As Lowen drives to the Crawfords, she listens to Verity's first book in her series that she's covering. She's getting nervous. She's not as good as Verity and won't be able to live up to her books. And she's written 6, all from the villain's point of view.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Have you? I don't know if I've ever read a book like that.
No, and I'll be honest, like the more that they talk about Verity's work in this book, the more I just want to read a Verity book.
That's fun.
Isn't that so interesting?
And yeah, I think right now they mentioned like what the series was about. Do you remember what it was?
Oh my God, no, I forgot.
It was like not the 7 sins, but it was something similar to that.
Yeah, it totally was.
Dang. Okay. Anyways, but she's worried. Everyone will know she sucks as a writer if she writes these books and they end up sucking. At this point, we don't know the extent of Verity's injuries, only vague articles online. The publisher released a statement saying that she had no life-threatening injuries. So she's still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. 2 weeks ago, she's recovering peacefully at home as of 2 weeks ago. Okay. Once she finds the driveway, the pillars that are lining the entrance, she sees them and she's like, holy shit, these people are really, really rich.
Yeah, I think she estimates their home at like 2.5 mil.
I think they bought it for 2.5 mil 2 years ago. Now it's worth $3 million.
That's right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, she stalked the house before coming. Yeah, and learned that it's worth $3 million.
Yeah.
The property, it sounds absolutely beautiful.
It does.
There's a lake. She's upset she rented a shitty car. She's like embarrassed.
Yeah.
Whatever.
She is so self-conscious about like literally everything.
It's kind of relatable to Verity.
Sure.
A little.
But what I'll say is you should not be in a relationship with a man who just lost his 2 daughters when you're also that's insecure.
She's not. Okay. She's not yet. When she parks, she goes to grab her phone and then all of a sudden there's a child staring at her from her window and it scares the shit out of her and he's just like staring at her. There's no emotion on his face. And she's like, oh, hello. He doesn't say anything. And she's like, do you live here? And he's like, yes. She's like, must be nice. And he said, used to be. Dang.
It's so crazy because the dialogue of this, because he's 5.
Yeah.
I don't know a 5-year-old that talks like this.
No. His character is really weird.
It's really weird.
But if I was her, I'd be so irritated that I was greeted first by a little kid, not the man that invited me there. Because she tries to follow him inside and he shuts the door in her face. And he doesn't even, you could see him walking away.
Yeah.
Like he does not turn around. So she rings and rings and rings and rings the doorbell. There's no answer. And then finally she texts Jeremy because she has his contact info. And he comes downstairs to let her in. He's like, sorry, I sent crew to come and get you, but I guess he didn't listen. Or he's sending your 5-year-old to go answer the door.
Can I also just say that the names for their kids, rest in peace, Chasten and Harper, but are so fucking pretentious. Crew.
Pretentious. I wasn't sure where you were going, but pretentious.
They're so
funny.
pretentious. Like Crew, Chasten, and Harper.
Yeah, they sound like children in a Gap ad.
Oh my God.
But anyway, she's low-key excited to see Jeremy. She goes inside and then he like walks off somewhere. Crew goes into the kitchen to grab a soda from the fridge. And Lowen is like, oh, do you want me to open that for you? And he's like, yes. And then he's drinking it. And then Jeremy comes in and he's like, I told you no sodas. And then he's like, don't trust that kid. Like, he's smarter than both of us combined. I'm like, okay.
Dude, I kind of live for Crew at some of these moments. I can't even lie.
He's an interesting part of this. Jeremy offers her the master bedroom, which is wild, but the rest of the family sleeps upstairs and it's close to Verity's office. So it's like, whatever. Okay. They go like into the room to check it out and she immediately sees teeth marks in the headboard. Like her eyes are just drawn to these teeth marks. There's no lock on the door, and Lowen desperately wants one. We don't really know why yet, but either way, yes to a lock. I would just want to keep Crew away from me. Like, I don't want him walking in on me.
He does seem like one of the kids from The Shining, like that he would just come in and just straight murder your
or
ass.
just like stand there and stare at you.
Oh yeah, I went way above that.
That's what I was thinking. Jeremy wants to introduce her to Verity's nurse under her chosen pen name in case she wants to remain anonymous after all this, which is really nice. So we get a clue that Verity, whatever's going on, she needs a nurse. They choose Laura Chase for her, which they came up with the way that you usually do. Like, what's your street name? First pet's name, whatever.
What's your street name?
What's your
street name?
Oh, I get it. Oh, I go by
Lolo.
Lolo.
No, Lil Lo.
Lil Lo. Lil Lo.
What's your street name?
What's the street that you grew up on's name? My bad.
I can't. Could you?
Can you love the way if she answered it like, they call me Lil Lo. Oh no. I was afraid this wasn't going to be a very funny episode. I'm glad I'm wrong.
Continue.
Okay. And then he's like, all right, let's go meet Verity. And then I'll show you her office. There's an elevator right past the kitchen. So Verity needs a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Upstairs in her room, Verity's lying on a bed on her back, staring blankly at the ceiling. There's nothing going on inside of her head, it seems. She recognizes nothing. Crew is next to her playing on an iPad. The nurse is there too. Her name is April. She leaves, saying Verity's good on meds till midnight. Should be an easy night for you guys. She looks at Verity again, thinking, like, is she aware of anything? Like, what a way to live. Like, and what a depressing situation this all is.
Yeah.
Jeremy explains when they leave the room that Crew is 5 and he wanted to be closer to his mom. So Jeremy moved them all upstairs to make it easier on him.
Which is super sweet.
Yeah, it was really nice. Then they go to her office. Lowen is overwhelmed by the enormity of the amount of books, notes, 2 computers, things everywhere, and Jeremy offers as much time as she needs to sort through it because it'll probably take more than 2 days.
Yeah.
He says he hasn't read any of his wife's books except for her first because he doesn't like being inside her head.
So I do think it's important to mention that one of the reasons that Corey and Lowen broke up, her agent and the writer, is because when Corey pursued her, he was obviously an agent and he had read her book
and fell in love with her main character,
with her thinking that Lowen was going to be like her main character, and then she wasn't. So it was disappointing for him. So it's kind of a parallel to that. It is a good parallel. It feels like it because
her first book was written through the villain's eyes.
Well, right, and she's like, oh, well, maybe he's like Corey and he doesn't like to.
Right.
Or he has a hard time separating himself from her characters.
Right. That's a good point. That's interesting, too, to think about.
Yeah.
She glances at the first page of the second book in the series and ends up reading for 3 hours. The characters are super fucked up and she noted again from the villain's POV. She then looks through both computers, but it's all notes on the already published books. So there's nothing about no notes for the books that are yet to be written. No luck in the boxes laying around until the 6th box, and she finds a document called So Be It and realizes it's what appears to be an autobiography. And she's curious as anyone would be and starts to read it. And she's making excuses to read it, but
girl, I would have read the whole thing in the first night.
One sitting. Yeah. I don't know how she could have taken any breaks from this.
Oh my God.
Anyways, it's okay. So be it. The author's note. So Verity's author's note. It basically says she thinks autobiographies should leave the reader with a bit of a bad taste in their mouth about the person they're reading about. Otherwise, it's not true or honest. And she's going to deliver on that point. And boy, does she deliver.
She delivers so hard.
Oh my God, I forgot the trigger warnings. Child harm / child death. This is all that this autobiography is about. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, we should put that in the beginning. Whoops. There's a lot.
We'll put it in the episode description.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Anyways, chapter 1. When Verity sees Jeremy for the first time, she pictures a life with him for the first time, and that's not happened with past lovers or boyfriends. Her goal at this party that she's at is to get drunk and fuck a rich guy. They exchange looks from like across the room, and of course she did, because she's wearing a beautiful dress that she stole from Macy's, and she's like, "Don't judge me. What did she say?
She's like, don't judge me. When I make money,
I'm a starving artist.
I'm a starving artist. I'll make money and then I'll donate to a baby or something. Like literally, that's exactly kind of how she does it. Too.
Yeah, she's so mean.
Almost word for word. She's like, I'll donate to someone. I don't know, fucking starving baby. Or
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She thinks that when men look at women's dresses, all they're thinking about is basically how easily does this dress come off, which is insane.
Or like, can I fuck her in this dress?
Right.
Would I even have to take it off her to fuck this woman? I'll be honest, like I've never actually like thought about that perspective.
No, when I put on a dress, I don't think about that.
I think about like how I look in it. I don't think about like
how easily I can pee in it.
That's fair.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah. I don't think about like, oh, how well can my man fuck me in this?
In a car, yeah.
In a car.
It's insane. In the bathroom, right? She's very confident in this dress, and he's not going to be able to resist her. But he does approach her at the bar, and he tells the bartender to only serve her water. And the bartender fucking listens, and she gets angry and goes to the bar across the room. He's like, just go over there and try. Like, I don't want any part of this. He follows her and says, if you drink anymore, I won't be comfortable asking you to come home with me. I'd rather you make that decision sober. And she's like, oh.
Yeah, he's like, I've been watching you. You've had 3 drinks in 45 minutes. If you have another one, I won't feel comfortable fucking you tonight, essentially.
Right. And she's like, it was Moscow Mules.
Yeah, it was Moscow Mules, by the way.
Yeah. She liked that line and ordered a water. And the rest was history. The way she refers to sex is so aggressive. I don't know if I can recap it like she does. Anyways, when they go to leave.
Get into the Verity's mind right now. Take a breath. Get into the mind of a villain and talk about sex right now.
Ooh, when they go to leave, it's in his limo. They chit chat a little bit. Jeremy says he doesn't know whose limo this is actually. He drove his Honda Civic here. He's a cheap lackey. And Verity is surprised that she doesn't care that he's not rich and still wants to fuck him. She's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I still like you. She admits she stole an invitation to this party out of the trash, so they're both not who they appear to be. They get caught in the limo and run to his Honda Civic.
Listen, I'm not dodging a Honda.
I'm
not dodging a Honda. I love a Honda. Hondas are the shit.
Yeah.
They last forever.
I have one. Okay.
Yes.
As they're making out, Verity thinks, I liked that he believed that he could like me. It almost made me believe that I was likable, which at this point, she's very much not likable.
I think she's somewhat likable.
She's interesting, I would say. I don't know if likable, I would say interesting.
I wouldn't say hateable.
No, I wouldn't say hateable.
I would say like...
I'm going to keep fucking reading.
See, that's like a girl I would invite on a night out. Like, I think she's fun. I think she's resourceful.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
For sure.
She has a goal.
I think I like her more than I like Lowen right now.
Yeah. I mean, the whole time.
You know what I mean? No, not the whole time.
Not the whole time.
Not the whole time.
Okay, I'm thinking interesting. Verity's fucking interesting. I want to keep reading about her.
But right now, I think she's more likable than Lowen.
Okay.
Because Lowen, I'm not even, every other sentence, she's like, I hate myself.
I think that's very normal with writers. They don't have a lot of self-confidence.
It's a lot.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not a writer. They went to a Steak and Shake before they went home and sat on the same side of the booth. And he almost gave her an orgasm in a quiet corner. And he's like, I'm not doing this here.
By fingering her.
Yeah.
We have yet another character, female character, in a book. Because remind you, this actually happened also in ACOTAR. In the ACOTAR series.
In the Human City?
Where they get almost fingered to completion. Where is this happening? Where's a man that can finger me to completion? Because I've never met one.
I always just picture like it's clit action because there's no other way that will make me enjoy the scene.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because no, fingering doesn't do it.
Because I'm just like, why are we writing that? Because it's
it doesn't
that kind
happen.
Of expectation is unrealistic.
Right. Yeah, it
is. Where are we finding men that are fingering people to completion? That needs to be studied. That needs to be taught. That needs to be in class. Like in a collegiate class where they teach men how to teach, like, what was I saying?
Men?
They teach men
how to
get women off.
With
like finding the clit 101 should be the class.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Right?
For sure. Otherwise, it takes him for fucking ever.
For fucking ever.
Anyways, back at his place, she thinks she's about to make love for the first time because of this instant and intense connection they've had this evening. That's crazy.
So yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, they had sex for 3 days in a row, and now Verity is obsessed and left with this need to please him. She needed to be the reason he breathed, the reason he woke up, etc. It's intense. And she was for a while until he discovered the one thing that meant more to him than she did. And then we're back in the real world.
Shit. On a cliffhanger.
Yeah. That's what keeps you reading.
Yeah, I like it.
Lowen is super interested and wants to keep reading to get inside her mind. But she's hungry and goes to get some food. But as soon as she opens the door, she can hear what sounds like Jeremy, maybe fucking Verity upstairs. And it's like, what the fuck? This is out of nowhere.
When I tell you to stop me in my tracks, I was on a walk and I stopped walking and I was like, what?
She thinks about like another story with a woman in a coma where she had heard of this happening. But then Jeremy is like, yeah, it's loud. I know. And he's like right behind her.
He probably knew. He probably like came down waiting. Like I cannot let her think that something like that's going on.
And it's just the bed moving around to relieve the pressure points on Verity. He offers her microwaved leftover pizza. Yum, 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 yum.
And she's like, oh my God, it sounds so good. And then in her head, she's like, I fucking hate pizza.
At least throw that shit in the oven.
That was like a good relatable part for me. I was like, yeah, that's funny.
Like, I'll take it. I hate pizza. Lowen seems to be more attracted to Jeremy since reading that section of the manuscript, which is gross, I think.
Here's the thing. If I read about a man in real life that fingers women to completion, I would be instantly attracted too. I would be I can't listen. Listen.
I don't know. You're in this house. This is the first night. Oh, it's all crazy.
Dude, I don't know. He's hot. Like, I can't. Here's the thing. I don't blame Lowen for like having an attraction to him.
Oh, yeah.
I blame Jeremy for having an attraction to her if he does. If that's what's happening.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. Jeremy, they're like talking back and forth. Jeremy doesn't know shit about Verity's plans for the books. He doesn't know where her notes could be. She hasn't written anything for a while, actually. Mm-hmm. We learned Verity's car crash happened not too long after Harper's death. She was in a medically induced coma for a while and then a rehab for several weeks. And she's only been home a few weeks at this point. She's obsessed with the manuscript and needs to get back to reading it to figure out what the hell is going on. Maybe it's another book she's writing and Jeremy's name was a placeholder. But she asks Jeremy how they met and he retells the same story.
Yeah, like almost word for word.
Yeah, like all the elements are the same.
Well, minus like the sexual content. He wasn't like I fingered her in a steak and shake.
Steak and shake, yeah. Yeah, but pretty much everything else. She clocks that Verity maybe started this memoir thing after Chasten died.
Because in the book she mentions, in Verity's book, she mentions how she could sense Chasten's demise before it happened, and implying that she started writing. Chasten had already been dead afterwards. when she wrote it.
Okay,
yeah,
well, it's interesting. He says Verity ate up the fame after being published, but he'd rather be back here with the kids. And then he corrects himself and says with crew, which is really sad.
Yeah,
Lowen is still sus. She low-key wants to know what happened to the girls and also wants to run away at the same time. They talk a bit about how hard it is to remember sometimes their loved ones are gone, and then Verity needs to go back and read more manuscript. So be it. Chapter 2. Verity is obsessed with Jeremy. It's intense. One day, Verity reveals that they live together. She no longer has an apartment, and he's mad that she didn't tell him. But they hadn't spent a night apart in 6 months, so Verity is like, what do you even, like, what is the difference? Like, we live together.
Yeah.
But he's upset, and then this is when she, like, crawls onto his face, and she's like,
he's like, or she was like, I literally have not spent a minute away from you in 6 months, and he's mad, and so she crawls on his face,
and she's like I just want you to make me come. That's why I moved in with you.
She definitely uses sex as a manipulation tool.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Notice.
And this when she bites down on the headboard, the teeth mark origin story. We get it really quick.
Yeah, we do.
When he was so he had to like move away in a different state for his job temporarily. And she decided she needed to write because she thought if she wanted him to want her, she needed to seem less interested / obsessed,
mm-hmm. which is honestly fair. Because if he knew how obsessed she was,
He wouldn't want to come back.
he would have 100% ran for the house. They would have broken
crazy.
up, I think.
The second half is going to be so fun.
Fair.
Anyways, she writes a whole book while he's gone, and he finds it when he gets back and reads it, despite her pleading for him not to read it because it's about him. I think, does she say she wrote it about him?
Yeah.
Or just use his name?
The character is based off of him.
Okay. But she's afraid he won't love her if he finds out she's a bad writer. He locks himself in the bathroom and reads it anyway, and she's begging him not to, but he does. And he's like, hey, it's good. Then he reads the whole thing, is so impressed by it, swears it'll make her famous, and asks her to marry him while they're fucking. He only does those important things while they're fucking.
Yeah, he asked her to move in while they were fucking.
Yeah.
He asked her to marry him while they were fucking.
Yeah. And she agrees, and they have sex without a condom. He comes inside of her. For 2 months, it was the night that they got engaged. And then it became the night that they conceived. And she's like, warning readers, darkness is ahead. And that's true.
This is your last warning.
This is where it stops being fun.
It's not fun at all after this.
Verity is parked right outside of her office, and Lowen's in her office, so Lowen can see her profile. The nurse is reading her a book. And Lowen is like, can she even comprehend what's going on? Can she comprehend anything? She's trying to work, but does glance up every few minutes just to watch her because she's super interested and curious about Verity. The nurse, moving away, catches her attention, but Verity does not react in any way. She doesn't even correct her terrible posture that she's in. She looks back down and thinks how Verity is gone, like how tough Jeremy has it now, and that it would have been better if she died in that crash. How being her mother's caretaker was like, it was only for a few months, but for Jeremy, this is his whole life.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Forever.
She looks back up and Verity is staring right at her. So she had to move her whole head. She was looking at her profile. So now she's turned her whole head. She's freaked out and tries to get out of her line of sight. And then the nurse comes back and makes her more comfortable. She's literally so scared. Her phone rings and it's the manager from the apartment complex that she applied for an apartment for. Her application was denied due to her recent eviction. And this puts her in a sticky situation. She's scared because she doesn't have money for another 2 weeks. And she's going to be stuck here. Jeremy overhears this conversation because she left the door open. Earlier, she did realize that the office is probably soundproofed. I think that's maybe important. He offers to give her some money in the meantime, but she refuses. Then he's like, just stay. It's only like 2 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks max that your money is going to hit your account. Like, just stay. She agrees, even though she's literally afraid of Verity and that manuscript. The manuscript, sorry.
Yeah.
She's outside on the porch before sunset, watching Jeremy and Crew take a dock apart, and notes how patient he is with Crew. And she also gets distracted by shirtless Jeremy, contemplates her attraction to him, and tells herself she should watch him. She should watch him because he's the inspiration for so many of Verity's characters.
She's like convincing herself. She's like,
Yeah,
I should
this is
really
totally okay.
I should feel like I want to fuck this man. Because like Verity wanted to.
Yeah. Oh my God. April, the nurse, slams the patio door, letting Lowen know that she caught her looking. But she says, I'm leaving. Verity's all set in case he asks. And she's like, okay, well.
And the TV's on.
Oh, and the TV's on. Yeah, TV's on. I'm out of here. Lowen's like, okay, please. I don't care. I'm not in charge. She's like, why are you telling me this? She thinks Crew is waving to her and she starts to wave back, but realizes that he's waving at Verity's window, which is like right above her. And she looks up and she sees the curtains like ruffle. And she's like, what the fuck? She gets a better view. The curtains aren't ruffling. And then she looks back at Crew and he's like not paying attention anymore. And she thinks she's seeing things. But she can't work again without double checking. So she like creeps up to Verity's room. And she's like, I don't know why I'm sneaking, but I'm fucking sneaking. So she's like creeping up the steps. Goes into her room. The door is cracked. Verity is indeed in her bed. Her eyes are closed. There's a fan going, which explains the curtains, but the TV is off, which April had just said she had left it on.
Right.
But she's like, well, maybe it was on a timer. I don't know. She convinces herself she's reading into things too much. There's nothing going on and goes back to the manuscript. So be it chapter 3. This is
like the worst. It's not even the worst. Actually, I think the next one's the worst so far. For what we read in
this half. Ugh.
Yeah.
Verity is very body conscious. It's clear. She only eats what her body needs. She doesn't even believe in giving a child a cookie if they had a bad day. Basically, she lives with no joy. Just kidding.
No, she does though. She really does like living with no joy.
Yeah, I need Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Then she says I'm here now. She's like, I'm not here to talk about how my dumb fat mom, like, because her mom was like a huge part of that. No, she was, right? Her mom was like overweight, and that's why she was like so obsessed with being like skinny or whatever and healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's like, I'm here to talk about how my baby stole Jeremy away from me.
Yeah. Because she's jealous.
She is jealous. She was happy at first to be pregnant, but didn't realize what a toll it'd take on her perfect machine of a body. And she's looking in the mirror at 3 months pregnant, and her belly is starting to like grow. And she vows to work out more and thinks about how she needs to figure out a way to deliver early, because apparently the last trimester is where your body gets really fucked up.
Yeah, that is true. You gained the most weight in your last trimester. But what I will say too is the only reason she was happy at first is because Jeremy was so happy.
Yeah, and she's like pleasing him.
So really, she wasn't happy about it at all.
Not for a second.
No.
But Jeremy sees her and tells her like, you're so beautiful. Oh my God, you're showing. And despite them like having sex right after this, she thinks he's lying on her behalf, which is upsetting because he's being so genuine.
He is.
She's clearly hungry like afterwards, but denies it. She's like, I don't need to eat. He's like, I need to feed my girls. And she's offended because the baby is just a blob at this point. It's like not even a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
He became as obsessed with her pregnancy as she was with him, and that helps her cope with her pregnancy, which is so crazy. They learn that they're having twins, but now she cannot cope with that because now she's third in line for Jeremy's affections, and that's not okay. She's faking happiness. She's secretly hoping for a miscarriage. She's secretly taking sleeping pills and drinking wine. During sex, he feels the baby's move, and he like gets soft, and she's like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, and she's like, every time we fuck, he like kind of like caresses my stomach. And she's like, I fucking hate that. Which honestly, I would hate that too.
I mean, even now, not pregnant yet.
Yeah.
Touch my stomach, please.
I would kind of just like, please.
I'm trying to get over that, but it's really hard.
No, I don't disagree though.
Yeah.
But especially if I was pregnant, I still would think it was weird.
Yeah, because then you're like free sound. You're like thinking about your baby while you're.
Yeah, which is like so not a turn on.
No. She asks him, do you love them? And he says, more than anything. And she says, more than me? And he says, yes. And she's like, what? He's like, why? Do you feel guilty because you love them more than me as well?
He like misreads the shit out of her.
And she does correct him in her head only. She's like, no, I don't even know them.
Yeah.
She's upset, which is gross, and says, I can't believe how much you love them and they're not even born yet. And he's like, I know.
She's like, I can't even fucking believe how much you love them and they're not even born yet. And he's like, I know, right? Don't you love them
I'm gonna cry when they're born.
She's like, yeah, I'm fucking excited.
You're gonna cry when they're born?
Yeah, you've never even cried for me.
And then she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. In the bathroom, she tries to abort her babies with a hanger for 30 minutes and then goes back to bed because she wanted him to like see it happen, to feel bad for her and to cry for her.
Yeah, like she like goes up in there until like she sees blood, like a steady line of blood.
Yeah, and then she goes to bed, which is crazy.
When I read that, I was like, oh my God.
No. Yeah.
Oh my God. So.
That's a lot.
I couldn't even begin to digest.
There's just no, it's
psychopathic.
It's like
everything she does is like very attention seeking. Like,
yeah,
she could have had an abortion at any point.
Yeah. But
she goes the most painful and horrible route.
Yeah, could have she
at got 5 months pregnant, which I believe is very inhumane at that point.
Wait, she's 5 months right now?
I think so. When she does the coat hanger thing, she was 5 months,
that makes
which
sense.
is fairly far along.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, it's like not, especially when babies are healthy, it's pretty inhumane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
I don't know why
like,
she didn't get a secret abortion and then just claim she miscarried.
Oh my God. Like it would have, like for her, I feel like it would have solved everything. I don't know why she just didn't do that. She has every reason. Honestly, I think a woman like Verity, especially from what we've heard at this point, should not have a baby.
Oh, no chance. No, yeah, no.
Holy mother of God.
It just gets worse / better the more we go.
I'm so nervous. Okay, so Verity is horrified by what she... No, sorry, it's Lowen. Hold on.
I do the same thing.
Dude, I'm like kind of a little bit drunk, and I literally only had a salad today. I haven't even had a carb.
You haven't had a carb.
I haven't had one carb.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it's not good. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Lowen is horrified by what she's just read. She's like, holy fucking shit, this woman's a sociopath.
Yeah.
And she starts to wonder what really happened to those two girls, which is fair.
Very fair.
Distraught, Lowen goes into the kitchen for something to drink, and Jeremy sees her and senses that something's wrong because she's like shaking.
Yeah.
And she's just not. You can just see
she needs a drink. Yeah, she needs something.
Yeah, but Lowen kind of unsuccessfully pretends that nothing's wrong. She's like, no, I'm fine.
You can't. No.
So she goes to look at photos of the two girls, and it shows that Harper rarely smiles, while Chasten is like a smiler from ear to ear, but she has a scar on her cheek. Ooh. And Jeremy says that she was born with a scar, and Lowen wonders if it's the result of Verity's abortion attempt.
Yeah,
which is like, I guess I don't know. Like scientifically, I really don't know, but I would assume that it could be. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
I don't know. I was just thinking about like the placenta. Like, I don't know how that works.
The only reason I feel like it wouldn't be is because it was at 5 months. If she were to have given birth even early for twins, it would have been around 7-8 months. That would have still left like 2-3 months for it to have healed.
Right, so but she did get it in the womb. So, I mean, did it?
Yeah. What I'm saying is if it was the coat hanger situation, because when they talk about, okay, we'll talk about that later. When the babies were born, the gash was already open.
Oh, it was open.
I thought.
I don't remember because I know how the doctor explained it. So, yeah, let's get back to it.
Sorry.
Don't get ahead of ourselves.
He also says that only Chasten had a peanut allergy, which was what killed Chasten.
R.I.P.
Yeah. It is super sad because the girls were only 8.
They were my favorite characters.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like the most innocent ones.
They, yeah. Well, and I kind of think Crew too. Like I guess I don't know much about him at this point, but.
I mean, he's 5. Nothing that's happened to him is his fault.
No, I agree. When Jeremy takes Lowen's hands to ask about the scar on her palm, he takes her hands. He touches her hands, and he takes her hands gently, and he says, "What happened to you?" Okay.
Lick your palms.
Right? And she pulls back. That's a come on. I don't care.
Yeah, you don't touch somebody.
Yeah.
Unless you're interested in them.
100%.
Wow.
So she feels an attraction to him, but doesn't want to indulge it.
Good for you.
Good for her. Yeah. Afterwards, she thinks about how she got the scar. It's because of her sleepwalking. Yeah, so her sleepwalking. So we know this. Mm-hmm. It happened many years ago when she was sure she had locked the door to prevent herself from leaving. But one morning, she'd woken up bleeding with a broken wrist. That's an intense sleepwalking bout.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sleepwalking is crazy. It's like, have you ever seen that woman on TikTok that like will film herself sleepwalking?
Oh my God.
She like induces it on purpose.
I didn't know she induced it on purpose, but yes, I totally have, where she like walks around, she's like, hey,
talking to her pillows.
Hey,
yeah.
hey. Yeah. She's so funny too.
Yeah, she's really funny.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah.
Okay. A second nurse soon shows up and named Myrna.
Myrna.
Is that her name? Myrna?
I don't know how else
Myrna?
you could pronounce it. I think Myrna is the best bet.
It's an interesting name. Who works on Fridays and Saturdays, and who Lowen actually likes more than April because she's a little bit more like receptive to
Lowen's
kindness.
Nosiness? Oh, kindness.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Just like Lowen's presence in general.
Yeah, true. Yeah, April wasn't having it.
No. Lowen decides to stop, or at least pause reading Verity's manuscript for the time being, because it just seems to like get her in a bad mood and like make her really paranoid and just afraid of like catatonic Verity, who like supposedly can't move or talk or blink.
She's so afraid of her.
You know, yeah, she's super scared. And it's also distracting her from like her work there, which is to try and find notes for
which she has made zero progress.
She has made literally no progress. So
she's watching Jeremy.
She's a terrible person at her job. She needs to go back to New York if she's going to make any progress. She really should.
Yeah.
Instead, she focuses on studying Verity's notes to prepare for writing the 3 books, which she does say that like she was there for a little while after Jeremy had convinced her to stay. And she did read like 2 books and write notes on them.
Okay, so that's a little progress.
At what?
She just hasn't found any notes about the unpublished books.
Which I don't know if there were any.
There's got to be.
There's got to be somewhere.
Something.
True. She thinks about how Verity writes her books from the point of view of the antagonist. She's like, well, maybe it's because Verity is a villain.
Like evil as fuck.
Just like in general. She might just be like a villain.
It's a good bet.
Yeah, I would assume so as well. So on their way to Jeremy and Lowen go to the grocery store to Target. They go to Target. Specifically,
Did
it's
it say
Target.
Target?
It was actually Target.
I love that.
Because Jeremy needs to get groceries and Lowen asked to go because she needed to get tampons and she didn't feel comfortable asking
She was
Jeremy
too afraid or
to
embarrassed.
get her tampons. And so on their way there, Jeremy's like, hey, by the way, have you seen that they released like a press announcement that you are going to be the co-author of Verity's book?
Oh, yeah.
And so she goes on and she's super exciting and she's so excited. She's like, oh my God. And she sees like there's one sentence under the editor's page, but then she goes on like the Instagram page.
A different website or something?
It's the Instagram page. And they posted like a thing about it. And like she looks at the comments and they're like, who the fuck is this?
Oh, yeah.
So annoyed. Why? She's probably terrible. Like just like comments shitting on her.
Normal comments from Instagram.
For sure. Which, people are mean. And she's like, people are awful. And Jeremy's like, never look at the comments. Okay.
You learn that pretty quick.
Sometimes I feel like that. And we are not even that big.
100%. I'm so afraid of all the negativity we're going to receive.
Oh my God. Yeah. So do I. I get so nervous. So like this is actually a moment where I relate to Lowen.
100%.
Even though we're not even there yet, but like I do get nervous too. So I feel it. And so anyways, while they're there, they run into Patricia and Caroline, who are Verity's friends, who kind of honestly, if I'm being honest, seem like stuck up bitches.
Oh yeah.
And they're displeased that Lowen is accompanying Jeremy, and they're very, very rude. They're very, very off-putting. And honestly, in my opinion, I thought they were flirting with Jeremy.
Oh, maybe that was it. I was like, they got their friend Verity's back in a cunty way, but
in a cunty way.
Yeah.
But also like,
still,
it's just,
maybe
I guess.
Yeah.
And before Jeremy and Lowen walk off, Jeremy purposely tells Patricia to give give my best to Sherman. And Sherman is the guy that she's fucking on the side.
Right.
It's Patricia's mistress.
Is it Mr.?
Mr.
I don't know what the alternative is.
Yeah, what would you even call like a male mistress? Like a,
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I don't either. But anyways, it's her male mistress. And so it's so funny because Lowen's like, I've actually never seen that level of a burn in person.
Yeah, she says it like 3 times.
Which I think she's just smitten with him because it's good, but it's not like that good.
Right.
Like, anyways, Lowen is lost in thought when she hears Crew screaming at the top of his lungs. They're back at the house, by the way. This is later on. And she rushes upstairs to see him in Verity's room, where he does spend a lot of time. And he's bleeding with a cut on his chin and a knife on the floor.
Yeah.
Lowen hurries. She hurriedly takes Crew to the bathroom to clean him up and asks him what happened. And he responds by saying that Mommy said I'm not supposed to touch her knife. Which is interesting. And
whoa.
And it confuses Lowen since Verity doesn't seem to be able to talk to anyone like
for
in
weeks
her
and
state.
weeks and weeks now.
She's not even like, that's not something that they've even said that she's able to do.
Right.
But she tells herself maybe Verity, like it was something that Verity had said prior to the accident, which because it did happen like not that long ago.
Right. Very fair.
However, when Lowen goes back so Jeremy comes up to check on Crew and he's like, hey, try and go find the knife. And so Lowen goes in to try and find the knife, and the knife, she goes back into Verity's room and she cannot find the knife. It's missing. And so she's like, oh my God, this is so weird.
Yeah. Like, am I fucking having hallucinations?
So she almost immediately goes into the office and she goes to read another chapter.
She's like, I
gotta figure out.
I gotta keep going
with this Verity bitch. I gotta figure out what's going on with her. Again, read the whole book.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
You have all the time.
You have so much time in the day.
Nothing but time.
This would have already been read if this were me.
Oh, yeah,
You've read 2 books at this point. Oh, my God. She's irritating.
She read 2 books before she finished the manuscript.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Okay. So be it, chapter 4. The twins are born healthy. Her first thing was like, Verity's first sentence in this was like, they fought to be born. They truly, I'll give them that. You know, they had a lot of fight in them to be born.
I mean, she did try everything she could to harm them in the womb.
The twins are born. They're completely healthy though, but aside from the scratch on Chasten's cheek. And Verity makes an effort in the hospital to act like she loves them the way Jeremy does, but she just doesn't feel it. She like holds them and she goes, hand me, at one point she's like, hand me the one with a scar on its cheek. Hand me the scarred one. And Jeremy's like, what the fuck?
She's like, well, they're like, twins. I can't differentiate them. She's like, maybe I should have phrased that better.
Yeah.
Ugh.
To be fair, though, if I'm being completely fair to Verity and not with everything that she did, that's fucked up. But like, I will say that the whole, like, seeing your kid at first sight can be jarring. And sometimes you don't always feel like the instant love or like the instant connection.
Yeah.
That people kind of express that you do feel.
Mm-hmm.
And you also can go through like intense postpartum depression and like whatever.
Right. There's a lot. And she doesn't know because this is her first time.
Right. She's
like,
still a fucking sociopath.
For sure.
Like, no doubt about it. But also, like, it's normal. Just because if anyone out there doesn't feel that initially, like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, a therapist is good, but also, like, that's okay. Like, don't freak out. You're not a horrible person or a horrible mother, you know?
I love it.
Anyways, sorry. I just had to make
PSA.
PSA. When the nurse asks if she'll be breastfeeding, initially Verity's like, no. And then she kind of gets coaxed into do it. Not coaxed it, I should say. She just kind of gets like pressured into doing it. But then she tries and Jeremy can see she's uncomfortable. She says she can't do it. The nurse kind of guilt trips her a little bit, which I think is a little annoying.
No.
And it's like, well, the child's taking to it. And she's like, I can't do it. So then they decide, and Jeremy, like, very much is on her side and is like, we'll like, just do
great
formula, which I really love him sensing her needs. I love that. Okay. So after Jeremy continues to marvel at how much he loves the twins, and Verity is like so bitter.
And he's super protective over them, and he is crying, and she's like, are you crying?
Oh yeah. He's like, he starts crying, and she's like, oh my God, are you crying? And he's like, and she's like, recover. What did she say?
So
after
that came out weird.
She came out.
It's like, I meant it in a good way. I love how much you love them.
And he's like, oh, okay, got it. But she's bitter. She's upset. She hates these twins. She doesn't like them.
Okay, he looked back down at Chess, and I've never loved anything this much. Do you think you were capable of loving someone that much? And she rolls her eyes and says, I have loved someone this much, Jeremy. You for 4 years. Thanks for noticing. It's bitter. Okay, so Loan gets done reading this. She wants to throw the manuscript in anger. In reviews of Verity's books, people often comment how they want to do the same after they get done reading her books. Same style, same writing style, I guess. She's like, is that normal for mothers? I don't know. I'm not one. This is what you were just saying. Like, I don't know. She's just trying to convince her. She's just doing everything she can to like.
It's definitely not normal.
She's trying to do everything she can to make it, or excuses for Verity's behavior, I think.
Yeah. Like a lot of the behaviors are not normal. It sucks because what sucks about it at this point is that the like frustrations or like hardships that she's having with being like pregnant and a mother so far, I think is normal. Like everyone gets nervous about their bodies. Everyone like maybe like not, some people have trouble with connecting with their child when they're pregnant or when they're first born, like whatever. But it almost like gives it like a bad name if you go through that kind of stuff. It makes it so much more scary to hear that sort of thing, even like as a pregnant woman, because you're thinking, oh my God, like, am I going to end up being someone like a terrible mother or whatever, when like Verity is obviously like it's connected to being a sociopath. So like if I read this as a pregnant woman, I'd be like, oh my God, am I a sociopath? If I felt the like not all of the things.
No, for
like,
sure.
not
I see
all
what you're
of
saying,
them.
though. Yeah.
But just like the
Even
disconnection,
one,
the fear of your body, like those sorts of things. Like some of those things are like the fear and the like are normal, but you know, she's like to a psycho level. It's crazy.
She thinks how, you know, if she was going to have a child, she'd want to do it with someone like Jeremy because his love for the twins seems so genuine. She's becoming obsessed with Verity and the family, but again, tells herself she really needs to get to know Verity if she wants to finish the series. She's openly going through pictures of the family at the kitchen table and does not try to hide it from Jeremy. This part is crazy. So Harper is the one that never smiles because she was diagnosed with Asperger's at 3. There's a picture of Verity and the girls in matching pajamas, and she thinks if she didn't love the girls in this photo, like she's really good at faking it, which is interesting.
Which I think she is because she's obviously like a professional manipulator. Some of the best people, like some of the best manipulators in the world, do that kind of stuff. Can make
so good
everyone
at it.
around them believe.
They're so charming. It's insane. It's so scary.
It is really scary. It is.
It is. Did you watch the Quiet on Set documentary? Were you a Nickelodeon girl?
I was more of a Disney girl. I did watch stuff on Nickelodeon. I haven't watched the documentary.
Oh my gosh, you need to.
Dude, I want to, but it's that sort of stuff is so hard for me to watch.
It is really hard. Anyways, okay, moving on. Okay.
Sorry.
They talk a little bit about the twins, and he mentions how Crew hasn't talked about them once, hasn't even uttered their names since they died. He says his world was turned upside down when Chasten died. It ended when Harper died, and then when Verity got into her car accident, he only felt anger towards her, and they didn't say this out loud, but it's clear, like there's a tension, and he thinks she hit the tree on purpose. There's this tense, sad moment, and they hug, then hold each other, and it seems very much like they're about to kiss, but they're interrupted by Crew. Crew has a reaction to these pictures. He starts aggressively shoving them back in the box, saying, "Put them back, put them back." And he's out of control. Jeremy's like, "Crew, like, what the fuck, buddy? Like, we're just looking at memories. It's okay." And he takes them upstairs, leaving Lowen alone. She's like, "Maybe I should have looked at those pictures in private, not in front of a family that's still grieving."
Yeah.
She definitely showed up. And she's like, "Maybe I shouldn't have tried to kiss Jeremy. Why am I still here?"
Well, also, why did Jeremy try to kiss her?
It's crazy. I mean, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is when you're isolated, they're kind of isolated, like, right? Jeremy doesn't work. So they're like just in this little isolated world, weird things happen. That's all. That's the only thing I can think.
I don't know. Listen, after hearing all this shit about Verity, I don't actually care that like he's trying to like pursue, obviously that trying to pursue Lowen to an extent. Be like with Verity, I'm not like upset. And like she's obviously crazy. Like
she deserves it.
He deserves better in general. My gripe with the romance part of this, I just cannot imagine losing one or even 2 children and like trying to move on romance within 5 months when he had lost Harper, and then 6 months prior to that he lost Chasten. How is it even possible that he's thinking about moving on romantically? I mean, I guess I've never lost a child, so like if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I mean,
everybody grieves differently and at their own pace, so I mean, that's whatever. But
I just cannot imagine even remotely thinking about that.
Yeah, and he was really attached to the twins.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah. Again, the Verity situation, the fact that he's married, I honestly couldn't care less. Honestly, like I could not care less. I couldn't at all.
That's funny. Ugh. So Jeremy's still working on the dock. Lowen is feeling it. Time is moving on. Lowen is feeling a weird energy in the house, mostly at night. She could swear she heard light footsteps last night and swore she heard them creeping up the stairs. But she's jumpy lately. She thinks about how she's never heard Jeremy talk to Verity and wonders if he still loves her. That's crazy.
Yeah.
She goes to the kitchen to watch April, the nurse, talk to Verity. This is also crazy. Never would I ever. She gets a pudding pack and sits down at the table with them and tries to like make small talk with April. And April is answering all of her questions to Verity. Like she's like Verity can hear and understand. And the nurse pulls her aside and says, like, it's super disrespectful to talk about someone with Verity's condition as if they're not right in front of you. Because we don't know how much info she can process at this point. And Lowen was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know I was doing that. But also Jeremy has never talked to Verity. And April doesn't clock that or care.
Yeah.
Anyways, then Crew comes in excitedly to show his mom a turtle he found. And he's like, Mom, look, it's a snapping turtle. Look how cool it is. Like, look what I found.
Yeah.
And Lowen was
Why aren't you looking?
Yeah.
Mom.
And Lowen was like, oh no. Oh, it's a really cool turtle. Let's go outside and put that thing in a bucket.
Yeah.
Like, just get some away from the situation. They sit in the grass where she has a good view of Jeremy tearing up the dock still. Crew tells her he's not allowed to have turtles since I killed the last one. And we're like, oh no. Like,
yeah.
Oh, there's so many situations.
Lowen's immediate reaction was like, oh God, did you murder the turtle?
Mm-hmm.
Did you stab it? Like, what did you do with it?
Yeah, because he's creepy a little bit.
He is a little
But
creepy.
no, he just lost it in the house. No gruesome animal murder. Then Jeremy comes over and Lowen likes that he's sweaty.
Yeah.
She's really getting into it. Cruz says, I'm hungry. I want to go out to eat. We used to eat all the time. We haven't gone since my sisters died. And that's the first time he's mentioned them. And Jeremy's like, you're right. Go get ready. We're going to go out to dinner, and ask Lowen to come. And she's like, yes. And she's excited because she's like, oh my gosh, am I going on a date?
This is practically a date.
Yeah.
With
And I'd be like, no, thank you. But also I wouldn't want to be back with Verity.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I can see both sides. And also, like, it's basically a free meal. Like, listen. Listen, like, I can see both sides.
Yeah, for sure.
What I'll say, I don't know. I struggle so much with this because obviously there's this palpable romance that's like somewhat happening to some extent. And I just hate it. I just don't think it's appropriate. I do not think it's appropriate.
It's 100% not, but it's happening.
Yeah.
At dinner, Crew is cracking jokes. Everyone's laughing. Lowen tries to tell that kind of obvious joke that gets eye rolls. Like, what's red and shaped like a bucket? A red bucket.
Yeah. Like what's fuzzy and like heavy? It's like a fuzzy piano or something like that.
Yeah. It was
something so.
And Crew's like, I don't get it. You actually suck at jokes.
Crew was like mad about it.
He was.
And Jeremy's like,
this fucking sucks. Yeah, he was like laughing at her dumb jokes. When they get home, Jeremy and Lowen have another weird, tense moment. And
like, if someone laughs at my jokes, that's foreplay. That's foreplay for me.
For
hot man laughs at my jokes that are that bad. You might as well lick my pussy. No, okay.
I get it though to an extent. I see what you're saying.
We're cutting that.
Okay. You gotta put that in the bloopers or something. You gotta cut that.
I'm sorry. Ugh.
Okay. At home, when they get back, Jeremy and Lowen have another weird, tense moment, and things are left unsaid. And Crew again interrupts them.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Shout out to the 5-year-old
cock block.
Yeah. Chaperone. Like, he's literally like a fucking chaperone.
Yeah. She goes back to Verity's office, hoping to find intimate scenes of Verity and Jeremy in the manuscript. How do you feel about that? I don't like it. It's so weird. Earlier I tried to put myself in her situation, and I was like, no.
I don't know.
It's a lot.
I just feel like
Verity is upstairs.
Yeah.
If she was like in a facility, if she was not in the house, it would be different.
I have a hard time because like I can understand her maybe having a crush on him and like maybe like
flirt.
And she's like reading a manuscript where she's like seeing that he can literally finger people to completion and like he's super good at sex and like all these things. Like I can maybe understand why she's like so turned on by it. I feel like it's more on him at this point. I don't feel like she's doing so much to like draw some sort of sexual energy. I feel like anytime there's a like more romantic initiation, I feel like it's from him.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why I don't necessarily think it's on her. It's not like she's initiating any of these touches.
Right.
I think she hugs him once, but that's the only time she ever initiates any touch. He touches her a lot. Like, not in like a weird way, but like he'll like grab her neck and like.
Well, that is weird.
It's just like stuff like that where I'm just like, that stuff is initiated by him.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's why I feel like it's more on him.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
So be it. Chapter 5. They're kind of struggling to take care of the twins. Verity feels like she has had no breaks. She's about to have a meltdown, and now Jeremy is going back to work, and she's afraid to be left alone with them. But she would it turns out, she found this little thing that worked for her, and it's not good. She would wake up with Jeremy, pretend to tend to the girls, and then put them back in their cribs, unplug their monitors, and go back to bed and sleep. And then before he got home, she'd feed them, bathe them, and start on dinner. And he would come home and be like, oh my God, dinner's cooking. The girls are pristine. They're happy. Oh my God, you're just rocking it. And that's so scary.
I thought it was bad about the like attempted wire hanger abortion. This is the worst thing I've ever heard. It's so bad.
No.
I literally was like, what's crazy too? I don't know if I had like a bout of deja vu, but I've heard about this chapter before.
Really? Yeah, you might have, because this is a super popular book. I was telling you earlier, I was trying to get a copy so we could put up here, which I wasn't able to do, even short of buying it.
Yeah.
All of the copies in like our library system are taken out right now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, because it must have been TikTok or something, but I have 1000% heard about this chapter.
Yeah, and it just gets worse after this. Anyways, at night, she would write. The girls would sleep good because they were tired from crying all day, and she's worried now about the sex aspect of their life because she hasn't been cleared by the doctor to have sex yet. She did have a cesarean section. It's only been 4 weeks, but that's the single most important thing to her, and Jeremy has been refusing her for good reason.
Because she's not cleared, but it could like physically hurt her so bad she could like maybe not die, but she could have to get more surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
That's C-sections are common, I would say.
They are fairly common.
But that doesn't mean they're not traumatic as fuck.
They're absolutely traumatic. And you really should not have sex before doctor recommended.
Right. Anyway, she wakes him up with a little blowjob teaser. She's teasing him for like 15 minutes, but ultimately she wants him to fuck her. She doesn't even like put him in his mouth, and he's like getting angry.
Yeah.
When she thinks he can't stand anymore, she basically just like presents herself, and he takes the bait and fucks her like really hard, and it actually does hurt her a little bit, and it does seem like he's like hate fucking her.
And they fuck for an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. I was just gonna say, like, that's crazy. Because he does come one time and then gets him hard again.
She could have just blown him. Like, I don't understand.
Well, she wanted.
But the sex wasn't for her. Yeah, I guess that's
all
fair.
it was.
That's fair.
He never.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot to fucking dig through.
To take.
Yeah. He never says a word throughout this, but she's relieved and thinks they'll be okay now because the girls didn't take his desire for her away. That's what it was.
That's crazy. She had to
make sure. She had to do that to convince herself that he still desired her.
Which is the stupidest thing in the world, because if you're taking sex as a desirable thing, a man will fuck literally a pizza pie. Like, they will fuck anything.
Truly. Oh
they
my
will
gosh.
literally fuck anything.
That's a good point.
Like, how does that make her feel better?
No, it should make you, I don't know.
You will fuck a donut hole. Like, come on. Come on, girlfriend.
It's funny as fuck. This chapter disturbs Lowen the most so far. She Googles the definition of psychopath, and it's pathological liar, cunning and manipulative, lack of remorse or guilt, callousness and lack of empathy, shallow emotional response. And that like ticks all of Verity's boxes so far. The only thing that doesn't fit is her obsession with Jeremy, because psychopaths like tend to move on and have really shallow connections. Mm. But it seems she's convinced she's a closet psychopath, and she's just hiding it from everybody really well. Mm. Jeremy knocks on the door, and she's digging his casual outfit of like sweatpants and a t-shirt, and wonders if she would even be attracted to him if it weren't for the intimate scenes in the manuscript, which is like, interesting to think about herself. He needs her to hold the basement door open so he can retrieve an aquarium for crew. He thinks he can handle another turtle. And while down there, the light goes out, but they make it back up just fine. And she does like spot the baby monitors while she's down there and just gets the shivers. Jeremy says, like afterwards, they're just chatting. He tells her he owned his own realty firm that he started the same year that Verity started writing. He loved it, but eventually Verity was making so much more money than him that him working didn't make sense anymore since it took up a lot of his time, so he quit. After this convo, Lowen decides to work on the series and not read the manuscript, but she doesn't get far and goes to bed. She decides she's tired of her own t-shirts and looks through Jeremy's clothes, finds a t-shirt that says Crawford Realty and puts it on. This part. And then she looks at the 5 or 6 teeth marks on the bed frame. And she like reenacts that what Verity describes what was happening when she bit the headboard in some like sick fantasy that's going on. And then she's like getting caught up in this fantasy and then is pulled out of it by the sound of Verity's bed creaking upstairs by like the
like the bed moving.
Which thank God. But then she lies down and like pretends not to be able to move to emulate Verity's condition. She's like, let me see what this is like.
Dude,
and
Lowen's weird.
She is really, it's really weird stuff. And she immediately gets restless. Her nose itches. She's like, can Verity even feel those things? And she thinks Verity possibly deserves what's happened to her, even though she still has so many people wrapped around her immobile finger.
Yeah.
Wow. Lowen wakes up in Verity's bed. This part's crazy. She slept walk right into there. She's like freaking out. Very quietly and quickly gets out of there. She's panicking and crying, and Jeremy catches her in the hallway, and he's like, hey, like, what's going on? But she pushes past him back to her room and slams the door. He follows her and seems genuinely concerned. He's like, what the fuck is going on? She explains she sleepwalks sometimes, and she took 2 Xanax earlier, so maybe that did it. I don't know. But he just comforts her, and she feels guilty that it feels good. Then he's like, why were you in Verity's room? And she's like, I sleepwalk.
Yeah. I didn't just walk in there voluntarily. Trust me.
Can't you see the condition I'm in?
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, I definitely need to leave after this. Then he's like, oh, that's why you wanted a lock? I thought you were afraid of me.
Yeah.
He's like, relax. Sleepwalking is harmless. But she's like, no, I've woken up outside. I've turned the stove on, even broke my hand once. It's not harmless. She's freaking out though and starts to pack her shit, and she's going to leave like right now. He's like, whoa. Like, come on. This is like really truly, this isn't a big deal. And she's like, I wish my mother felt the same way. And okay, do you want to get into it? She starts to unpack her bag.
Yeah, she's like, okay, here's my trauma.
Let's talk about that.
Sit down.
He starts to unpack her stuff, and she's like, do you want to talk about it? And she does, I guess. She explains the night that she broke her wrist. They had security footage, and at 3 a.m. she was standing on the porch railing for an hour, not looking, not doing anything, just standing immobile, not even balancing with her hands, just standing on the railing.
And she didn't even move an inch.
Didn't move an inch, which is
like it wasn't terrifying. Even like one of those moments from like, you know, like Paranormal Activity where they're like like when the time goes by and they're like kind of moving waiting. A little bit, like a little bit. Like it was just her like this, like just like straight up, like not moving at all.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
And then eventually she jumped onto the ground, presumably cut her hand and broke her wrist in this fall, but she didn't have a reaction when she got up. She just went back to bed and fell asleep and didn't feel her injuries until she woke up. Then her mom sends her away for a 2-week psych eval. And while she's gone, she moves herself into a room that's further down to the hall into like a guest bedroom, and then installs 3 locks on the inside of her door because she was afraid of Lowen. 3 locks is crazy.
I just like don't understand the mothers in this story. It's crazy. Like these mothers just like really hate their kids.
No, but also like she just jumped off of the porch and hurt herself. Like you think she's gonna come after you next?
I wouldn't think so. And honestly, like I wouldn't, like I'll be honest, like I wouldn't care.
No, you would do everything you could to help her get like sleep safely.
Yeah. 1,000%.
That's crazy. Anyways, at all this time, Jeremy's being very comforting with his words, and he's touching her, hugging her, being so understanding. And she's like, what do I do now? Do I just go back to bed? Do I just lock my door? Like, what should I do? And he's like, yeah, just lie down. I'll spoon you. I'll be very uncomfortable. Don't worry. And then and then you'll fall asleep, and then I'll leave.
I'm sorry. This is a man that has feelings. I don't know one man that does not have feelings for me that would spoon me, comfort me to sleep. I'm sorry, I don't. let's be honest, men are not like that. Like if they are not interested,
They're super, super not interested.
when they're not interested in you, they're not gonna give you even an inch. Could you imagine?
No, that's
like
so crazy.
Could you like even imagine? Like I picture like if you were like that and like you were like, let's say, I don't know, like Corey and my Corey is my husband, and like he would never cuddle you to sleep.
Oh, no chance.
That'd be so weird. Like, could you imagine?
Like if you no, I hate thinking about it.
Sorry, I don't want to be like a weird thing, but I'm just saying, like, like a man that's not interested at all is not going to do anything like that.
No,
only a man that's slightly interested is going to cuddle you to sleep
for sure.
And he like touches her hair and like kisses her on the cheek or like on the head and then leaves.
Yeah, she does.
Sorry, what?
She ends up not falling asleep, but he assumes that she does, and he leaves like a little after 6. And on his way out, he kisses her forehead, and that's the end of the chapter, and that's where we're ending this week.
And that's the second time he kissed her forehead. By the way, he did it one other time,
and that's a super super intimate thing to do.
I don't even think my husband's kissed me on the forehead.
No, and I love when that happens too. I'm like, it does feel like you feel loved when that happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to him about that. But anyway,
every once in a while, can you just like
kiss my forehead? But like I feel like that's very intimate.
It is. It's super intimate. So I'm so excited for you to read the rest of this book.
I'm excited, but I'm nervous.
Yeah,
Verity is stressing me out.
Oh my god,
she's got a problem.
This book is crazy. Okay, should we do like quote of the week? I think I only had one in the beginning where Verity was like, when they were making out for the first time, it made her feel likable. I like that one because like that's relatable a little bit.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of memorable quotes in this one though.
No, I don't know. I mean, potentially like I thought it was interesting. This is actually the point where I like really started to dislike Lowen, is when she was like, well, if I was this rich, I wonder how well I'd be able to write.
Yeah, if I had a soundproof room, a chair that like wheeled around, like a super comfy chair to sit in.
Which it's like you're reading the manuscript. I guess she hadn't at that point, but like they didn't start off rich.
True, yeah. She wrote that.
She still
in an
wrote
apartment.
the books when she was broke.
Yeah.
So really, Lowen, you don't have any fucking excuses.
Yeah, you're just a bad writer, Lowen.
Yeah.
Anyways. Come to terms with it.
Those are the quotes that made me annoyed with Lowen, but
yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot going on with both of them, honestly.
When I liked Lowen was, I hate pizza. That I like.
Sure.
I hate pizza.
Should we even do the who would you be and who would you want to be?
I wouldn't want to be anyone in this. I'll be honest. Probably not. I mean, maybe like, do you have a favorite character?
Honestly, the fucking twins.
I don't know enough about the twins yet.
I still like them.
At
the end of the book, they are my favorite.
I kind of like Goddamn It, Baron. I just feel like he gets a bad rap.
Underappreciated.
He is underappreciated.
Favorite character? I don't know if favorite character is the term for this book. I would say most interesting character, and that's definitely Verity.
I think she's very interesting for sure.
Yeah.
We could do like most hated character, like most like crazy character, which is Verity. I think that's obvious.
Even Lowen a little bit at this point.
Lowen is really going down a little bit of a sinister path as well. I don't know how if I love her progress as a character.
I'm so excited for you to read
Jeremy's stressing me out too, though. Like, what is he doing? He needs a therapist.
Yeah, all I can say is he hasn't spoken to Verity one time. If your wife got into a car accident and was comatose, you would, like she'd mentioned, like you wouldn't be like, oh, I love you so much. Crew's here. He's doing great. You know, things like that.
Here's my thing.
You would do that.
If her manuscript reigns true, I think there's no way that he hasn't seen at least slip ups from her. So maybe like when he thinks she intentionally got into a car accident, that could just have been the straw that broke the camel's back for his dislike for her.
Yeah.
Like maybe he'd always kind of felt something that way. I really don't know. I guess I would obviously I'd have to read more. My guess that's my guess. And maybe like that was just kind of his last straw, because I'll be honest, like
that makes sense. Like we're getting into predictions.
I would be, well, and even just like, if I think about it where it's like, if my husband did something like that, intentionally and had left I can understand how depressed you could be after losing 2 daughters, but you still have a son.
Yeah.
You still have a child.
And he takes care of him.
I mean, if it was just me, I think it'd be different. But when you have a 5-year-old son that you have to take care of and that you need to also protect and like be there for, like I would be really angry too.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would explain why he doesn't talk to her. Why do you think he keeps her in the house and not just at a long-term care facility?
You know, I do think he like cares about her. I mean, they've obviously been married for like a decent amount of years. Probably at least 8 years, at least 9 years. I guess if we're thinking about how old like Charity and or Chasten and Harper are.
Right. So he's just, I don't know. It's sometimes like the fact that he doesn't talk to her, it feels like he's just doing the bare minimum, like standard of care. But I don't know.
I think he has a right to feel like the anger. I really do.
I could see that for sure.
I mean, because at the end of the day, like she hurt herself, but then she's still alive. So like he has to like he's literally gonna have to be married to like a vegetable, which is fine. But like there are very real feelings like when someone takes their own life. Like it's a tragedy, and like it's obviously sometimes it's not.
There's a lot of guilt,
but there can also a lot of anger.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, because she left him with crew.
I mean, I've lost family members and been angry with them for leaving when it's not even their fault.
Right. That's hard. That's true. That's hard. That's a lot. So
imagining if it's intentional, like I couldn't even like being in that position. I just couldn't imagine the emotion, the level of emotion that he's going through, which is why I don't think you should be entering into anything romantic.
No, for sure. Do you have any predictions?
The only thing that I'll predict, the only thing that I feel confident is true, is I think that Verity might be faking it.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Well, there's a lot of evidence. There's the knife that went missing.
Yeah.
There's the curtains.
Uh-huh.
If the fan is on, that means she could have turned the fan on. She could have turned the TV off.
Yep. 100%.
There's a lot of evidence.
I definitely think that she's fake. I definitely feel like she's but I can't she's obviously psychotic, but I can't for a moment figure out like there's got to be some motive to why she would have crashed her car and then decided to pretend to be okay. I can't figure out why, but
it all gets answered
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that she's like not comatose. Awesome. Or like not okay. Like I think she's recovered.
She's okay.
And I honestly feel like maybe April knows. It seems like April might know, but I could be wrong.
She might. It seems like, I mean, Crew does talk to her. Like
Crew definitely knows, but I think she doesn't expect that. If she obviously talks to him, where it's like, don't say these things. Like if she's like, don't say anything about mommy. Like whatever. Like I feel like he definitely knows.
But he's 5. He can't articulate that.
No.
Interesting. I can't wait for you to read the book. And all the text messages that come with it.
Oh my gosh,
it's gonna be crazy.
So many.
Next week, so we're gonna finish up Verity. We don't have any plans for a book after this. Do you?
No, but we definitely want to do one that neither of us have read.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
So that way we can both enter into it with like abilities to do predictions and open minds and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But this is good. I mean, this is good. So far ish. I don't know. I'm very up in the air.
Yeah. And that's okay. Thank you guys for so much for listening. Send us any feedback. I was going to say, send us book suggestions. We don't have any solid plans at this point. So
I don't think there's a lot of fanfic for this. So let's just
I was going to say, please don't send fanfic. Let's actually don't.
Please actually. Just, like don't.
If you do have fanfic and fan, art for Ekatar still, please send that.
Yeah.
We'll still read that.
I will just throw it out there. We have been thinking about, I know that obviously up and coming, there's going to be a couple like series coming out. I know the new Bridgerton's coming out in May. Let us know if you'd like to do that series at some point prior to the 3rd season coming out.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we could at least do the first book and see how that goes.
Yeah.
We don't have to like jump into the whole series and commit.
Yeah, we could do the first 3 even just to catch up to the series coming out. All right. Is what I was kind of thinking. But let us know like what you'd like to, or not the first 3, but the 3 books that align with.
So wait, do you not have to
because
read
it's
it
not in order. No, because
so you can just jump in wherever.
I actually don't know. Let us know in the comments, but I do know that they are skipping a book to do Colin and not Colin. Yeah, Colin and Penelope. That's not the third book. I think that's supposed to be the fourth book.
Oh, okay.
I think the third one's supposed to be Benedict and like whoever the fuck he ends up with.
Okay.
Which I don't know. I've never actually read the books.
Me either. Or watched the show.
So I don't know. Just, I mean, let us know in the comments, and then also, yeah, what if there's any other books that you'd like to hear about?
Yeah, let's do it. That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Awesome.
Yay! Thank you guys.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you
Love
later.
you.
Bye.
Bye.